hold on.
The teacher with the woman asking for the preacher with the supreme coach and the bleachers,
the teacher with the woman asking for the preacher for the supreme coach and the bleachers, the keeping the wise and the whiter for the hologram for the parable.
Just hold on. Just hold on. The teacher with the woman asking for the preacher for the supreme coach and the bleachers, the keeping the wise and the whiter for the hologram for the paraplegic, the teaching, speaking parables and cutting you off at the perpendicular parallels and paralegals are just for the husband, for the wise and lost out in front of each other, for the in and out of stores and what's in store, for the getting petition to being petty and enough for the treating petties and the utilizing the flower petals to make sure that you were able to penetrate the heart for the getting in the soul, for the energy was getting to penalize. Battery writing words and pens and doing the numbers and the pensions for the imposing the prison sentences and remember the time for the serve for the peers like the premature boys and penetrating administrative for the woman's and cups. Filled with the PMs and the pens, the pencil for the pencil, but making any life for the penalty. Where he was in the middle of the dark for the pronouncing the love was only the moon for the remember how they were dancing there with the tunes and souls attracted for the each other for the energy with the stars aligned, calling the meteorite falling stars and immediately calling her mediocre for the even though you can only imagine. Soon my moon for the soon will catch the water with the blue drown inside the overbearing gravity forevermore for the somewhere further down the line for the period of someone's incentives in the smell of the aroma of the love's harvest approaching what's in store. Approaching the corner store. Passing on the ships in the night for the grave for the welling from the criticism over the sea for the wells of breath and through the nose and uptight for the unexposed and those men that having the mentality for the heavy mental. Slums surrounded by the white for the people for the only the toe for the tall for the not the equal the coming to remember it was never the sequel the tall equal the only needs grows the outgrow people bending people. Making the people loud souls of the shoes and reaping the souls that you reap for the benefits of being able to make a certain amount of energy for the time for the greater for the never considered enough for the making the feel that you never had the one smile. Brings you a smile of his dream for being a little bit more for the pain for the inner certain remember for the over the heart for desires your own listen to be happy with you again. You for the one to make it happy again for the making the things you can meet room for the over the
teacher with the woman asking for the preacher for the supreme coach and the bleachers, the keeping the wise and the whiter for the hologram for the paraplegic, the teaching, speaking parables and cutting you off at the perpendicular parallels and paralegals are just for the husband, for the wise and lost out in front of each other for the in and out of stores and what's in store for the getting petition to being petty and enough for the treating petties and the utilizing the flower petals to make sure that you were able to penetrate the heart for the getting in the soul for the energy was getting to penalize. Battery writing words and pens and doing the numbers and the pensions for the imposing the prison sentences and remember the time for the serve for the peers like the premature boys and penetrating administrative for the woman's and cups. Filled with the PMs and the pens and the pencils for the pencil for making any life with the penalty. Where he was in the middle of the dark for the pronouncing that love was only the moon for the remembering how they were dancing there with the tunes and souls attracted for the each other for the energy for the stars aligned, calling the meteorite falling stars and immediately calling her mediocre for the even though you can only imagine. Soon my moon with the soon will catch the water with the blue drown inside the overbearing gravity forevermore for the somewhere further down the line for the period of someone's incentives in the smell of the aroma of the love's harvest approaching what's in the store. Approaching the corner store. Passing on the ships in the night for the grave for the welling from the criticism over the sea for the wells of breath and through the nose uptight for the unexposed and those men that having the mentality for the heavy mental. Slums surrounded by the white for the people, for the only, the told, for the taught, for the not, the equal, the coming to America. It was never the sequel, the taught equal, the only needs who grows to outgrow people, bending peoples, making the people loud souls in shoes and reaping the souls that you reap for the benefits of being able to make a certain amount of energy for the time, for the greater, for the never considered enough, for the making the feel that you never had the one smile. Brings you a smile of a dream, for being a little bit more, for the pain, for the entering a certain moment, for the over heart, for desires, your own lesson to be happy with you again. You for the one to make it happy again, for the making the think that you can meet room, for the home, for the beliefs.
Every beat becomes critical. My behavior is going to play an effect in my spiritual even beats. The beer for the becomes this and the spiritual touching the ears of those who want to hear. Every beat becomes critical. Every beat becomes critical. My behavior is going to play an effect in my spiritual even beats. The beer for the becomes this and the spiritual touching the ears of those who want to hear the truth. It lies in the middle beneath the surface in the hard place, which fuse to use and knowing the possibility affecting your energy for the intuitive grace that allow you the next passing hour like you were in the former place. Who's to blame for being confused? Burnt fuse choosing to express what's on the mind for this not for the all. Consider for the place to be or going for the through that matters for the all the next to be for the following of the heart for the destination like putting over to the other for the passing over emotions. Letting them pass. Every beat becomes critical.
Every beat becomes critical.
Every beat becomes critical.
Every beat becomes critical.
Every beat becomes critical. My behavior is going to play an effect in my spiritual even beats. The beer for the becomes this and the spiritual touching the ears of those who want to hear the truth. It lies in the middle beneath the surface in the hard place, which fuse to use and knowing the possibility affecting your energy for the intuitive grace that allow you the next passing hour like you were in the former place. Who's to blame for being confused? Burnt fuse choosing to express what's on the mind for this not for the all. Consider for the place to be or going for the through that matters for the all the next to be for the following of the heart for the destination like putting over to the other for the passing over emotions. Letting them pass arriving to get drunk. Dance to the future moon becomes more bright for the night slips away with her. The rest of the night rests in the peace and dreamscapes for the first smell of it breaking her fast. Eating slowly she's made the way for the bed. Food tastes like the acid in the refrigerator for the sink hours. Take ownerships of the day for it was the hours of the over the keeping the ship for the sinking like it was the acid taste down the throat for the most important part of the matters and the explanations. Planets breaking up with the countries. X marks the spots and sometimes coordinates quarterly for the corresponding to the corporate American cans. Don'ts. Good news is that a musician, she's a dancer, and no one does a thing for the getting the cancer to that's always complicated and justifiable for the answer. You do too much of that for that and don't understand for the one want. Have no plans and no time for the matter of the drifting emotions and floats in the oceans that depends on the science. Gravity, paper to sinking. Swim and become harder to see for the understanding of favor in the side of the moment for the stars. Get resolution to find meaning in the light to be able to see time for the way for the home for this heart. Hard enough for the opinion to be stale. You failed to mail that memory to yourself like it was a copyright sent overnight for the passing thoughts and zip codes. Arriving drained and over-explained like the pain the shit was numb. It was like to hear the pain to find the thumb for this and wanted to understand but not wanted to do over. Understand that for that to do it. For the be past the parts of the food for the thoughts. For the finger food for the appetizer to getting drunk off. For the love for the being put in the tank. For the not passing the breathalyzer. For the getting the children and listening to parents with the Alzheimer's. Motherless child could be the child without a memory for the father. For the I'll run it back to the cloudy wasteland. See it through. These be the inside for the turning closed minds and clothes. Getting washed inside out like washing the chairs and pictures. For the being raised for the announcer. For the call to the batter. For the who's a swinger. For the abuser who can now find a shopper for the beach. Clear for the sexual P for the beak for like a British teeth for the queef for this the gate for the leash for the taking of the heart for the chest when it's beyond that wisdom. It's be an oxymoron. Every beat becomes critical. My behavior is going to play an effect in my spiritual even beats.
That you wanna stay in the jungle.
Just hold on.
Good. And old King Louis.
Hang tight.
That's
Try not to feel jealous about the things or the people or places. It's toxic.
Have 2 bananas.
Just keep living and you will find the happiness.
Have we got a deal?
Yes, sir.
Nothing's gonna come good for the people knowing your business for the privacy. Key is the best way to be. That laugh is the risk of appearing to be a fool, for the weeping is the risk of that appearing, for the sentimental, for the reaching out to another, for the risking of involvement, for the exposing of the feelings in the end. Self, for this the place for your ideas, for the dream, for the people. To be for a crowd, for them to see the risk for their loss. The love is the risk for not being loved, and the return for the hope is the risk of the pain. Try is the risk of failure. The risk must not be taken because of the greatest hazard for the life of the risk nothing. We want the answers, but we're afraid for the sometimes the truth hurts for the lie ourselves. At some point, you just have to let go for what you thought for the happening and live that for what is happening now, for this to make lists of what you can find, adjusting accordingly.
Have we got a deal?
Yes, sir.
Waiting around the corner for something you can happen when everything you want is right here for the time you can let it go for the it's so hard to not find the talent, the piece of my life, for the daydream, for the running in the place, for not being healthy in one place, and the cutting with the core, for this to be doing that for the months ago I can say goodbye. But you are not wanting me for the beginning and then wanting me myself. People with the weird impossibility that you can find enough for the stress, for the anxiety, for the race right. How you find the matters and the respect for that, for the comfort zone, for you growing and willing, for the feeling awkward enough, for the uncomfortable enough, for the something new. Try to be okay with that. Sitting, antagonizing, hoping and praying and just maybe for the maybe they'll take me back all over again. For this to be the best revenge, you're looking so good for the being happy enough. For the sometimes you just need a break for the beautiful place to be alone to figure everything out. Tired of always wanting to have it to be the one with the wish to find the love for this to be the little effort for the trying to understand me. Feeling that I can feel for when I say I love you. The distance between us and love become an obstacle if you tried to come between us. And I love you the most for the choosing, for the definitely not for the second. Never wonder for the much you exist, for this to always curious about for the certain song. When it passed through my mind for the one I had me to still was part of time that I've forgotten. I wonder if I still exist with the minds of the people I don't speak to. I wonder how many times a day for the passing through someone's head for them. Sounds like a pretty good story to me. It hasn't been easy for the having to learn how to love yourself, for the how to love your messy hair, for this to be the choice you can have, for the only person you can find of yourself, for the will, for the this is never time to find is thinking. You're gonna see yourself again for the finding what's important, for what makes you interesting enough, and this to be the norm for the good things that always come your way next. What's on the horizon? The attraction of what you want, or being what you want, or deciding that life is what you want to live for the person you want to love, for this to be the best what you can find, to be stronger for the kind of for the compassion enough to decide that, for the breathing in and breathe out and decide. I never thought I would the comfort of the voice, to be so soft and kind for the loving, but also nobody taking that, for the everybody had a chapter they don't read out loud. Don't think about that, for the focus on what you can have every 24 hours to the seconds of the day, for this to make yourself what doesn't happen to make sense and not for others. Pretend you're just this for the photograph, for this is important for the wasting of the time, for don't realize who just to be okay for the day. A light of madness and the magnificent for the vision of chaos. Way too important to be wasting your time. Life isn't about finding yourself and the creating that. You being private is definitely is strange enough for the secret loving someone, for the having no idea for the secret loving them, for this to be the happiness and the choice for the person you will make unless you can have that come from you. Not to worry, not to be obsessed with this, the faith and everything will work out for the best, and this is what the fight for the things that are living inside of me, for the only thing I left to do. Thanks.
Try not to feel jealous about the things of the people or places. When faced, you have no other position. Faced with two choices to simply toss a coin. It works not because it settles the question for you, but because of the brief moment when the coin is in the air, you suddenly know what you're hoping for. You live in the moment. Even if you don't have the power to choose wherever you come from, you can still choose where we go from here. I dare you to be happy, to comparing yourself with the others, for this to be the but you can't stop the ways, but you can learn to serve. For this to be the motivation, for the positive mind, for this going no wrong, for the start, for the positive. Be passionate enough for the tremendous, interested enough for the inspiration. Not to judge by my success, but how many times I've offered to get back up, or whatever you believe in the inside of that, for to be manifestation outside. I'm thankful. Change your mind, change everything. Believe in your dreams, and this is with the love to keep looking for, not the settling for the all manners of the heart. When you can find to find it, for this is something that bad happens. For the three choices to define you, for the ever destroying, for this will be the strengthening. Rather than approaching for the as it looks as a challenge, for the look at it as an opportunity for the explorer. It's not anyone else, so this will be the one for your hate. Making your life bigger choices than what you can find, even scarier for the regret. How an imagination has no wings for the ambition, for the first step is still the second step is the action. Today is to be that good day for the okay, for wherever you are, for this knowing you want to change. Remember that no one's gonna make your dreams come true for you, but this is the things for the deepest inside of your heart, for the enjoying every step for the journey, for the rather vision, and wishing you were already there for this and wanted to end up. Not to be used to think that the worst thing in life is the ending up all alone for this, not. The worst thing is to end up with the people who make you feel all alone. That could be the worst of this, not climb the mountain so you can find the world for this, to see the lift, the quote for this, the fear to make your world for the bigger than he is. There's still time for to change the road that you're on. If you surround yourself with the people through the movement, for the believing in yourself, for the inside of that, for the manifestation. Excellence is never the accident. It's the result for the high intention, for the sincere effort, for the intelligence and direction, the skillful execution, for the vision to see the obstacles and the opportunities. The mind is the limit, for as long as the mind for the vision, for the fact that you can do everything. You do something, you can do it for as long as you really believe in it. Because some days you're gonna have to create your own sunshine. And you can find those rays in the spirit. The ones the human created, for this to be the rumor, for the carried by the fool, for the started by the hater, for the accepted by the idiots, and when you can talk for the repeating, and you already know for the you can listen for the learn something new. The only way to make sense out of that change is to plunge into it, the move without the joy and the jams. Your mission is to be so busy for the time, for the hate, for the regret or fear, surrounding yourself with those who do find the greatness within you, beauty that can learn and nobody can take it from. To be the exception and the only rule, for the hope you can find it whatever the day is, and be strong enough for to be humble, timid and not be proud, for not arrogant enough, for this will be the hope you find it soon. The exception. You can be called weird for something people that don't see often, so you can remember that for the success it comes that for the simply refusing to give up for the goals, and it's not the obstacles for the elder, the failure for the loss of any activism motivation. The challenge of what it makes life is interesting enough for the overcoming and take it meaningful. Nevertheless, the status, and you can have the fear for the future, for the ruin, the happiness of your present. We do not see those things as we see the things that we are. Past this like a pacifist, not for the unification from.
When faced. When faced.
When faced, you have no other position. Faced with two choices to simply toss a coin. It works not because it settles the question for you, but because of the brief moment when the coin is in the air, suddenly you know what you're hoping for. You live in the moment. Even if you don't have the power to choose wherever you come from, you can still choose where we go from here. I dare you to be happy, to comparing yourself with the others, for this to be the But you can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. For this to be the motivation, for the positive mind, for this to going no wrong, for the start, for the positive to be passionate enough for the tremendous, interested enough for the inspiration. Not to judge by my success, but how many times I've offered to get back up. Or whatever you believe in the inside of that for to be manifestation outside. I'm thankful. Change your mind, change everything. Believe in your dreams, and this is with the love to keep looking for the not the settling for the all matters of the heart when you could find to find it. For this is something that bad happens with the three choices to define you for the ever destroying, for the this would be the strengthening. Rather than approaching for the as it looks as a challenge for the look at it as an opportunity for the explorer. It's not anyone else, so this would be their own for your hate. Making your life a bigger choice than what you can find, even scarier for the regret. How an imagination has no wings for the ambition, for the first step is still the second step is the action. Today should be that good day for the okay, for wherever you are, for this moment you want to change. Remember that no one's going to make your dreams come true for you, but this is the thing for the people inside of your heart, for the enjoy every step for the journey, for the rather vision, and wishing you were already there for this and wanting to end up. Not to be used to think that the worst thing in life is to ending up all alone for this, not. The worst thing is to end up with the people who make you feel all alone. That could be the worst of this, not climb the mountain so you can grow, find the world for this to see the way, the quote for this to fear to make your world bigger than it is. There's still time to change the road that you own. If you surround yourself with the people who the movement for the believing in yourself, for the inside of that for the manifestation. Excellence is never the accident. It's the result of the high intention, for the sincere effort, for the intelligence and direction and skill, for the execution, for the vision to see the obstacles and the opportunities. The mind is the limit, for as long as the mind for the vision, for the fact that you can do everything. You do something, you can do it for as long as you really believe in it. Because some days you're gonna have to create your own sunshine. You can find those rays in the spirit. Ones created for this to be the rumor for the carried by the fool, for the started by the hater, for the accepted by the idiots, and what you can talk to the you already know, for that you can listen for the learn something new. Only way to make sense out of that change is to climb into it, but the move without the joy and the jams. The mission to be so busy for the time, for the hate, for the growth or fear. Surrounding yourself with those who can find the greatness within you. Beauty that can learn, nobody can take it from. You be the exception, and the only rule for the hope you can find it whatever the day is. So be strong enough for to be humble. Timid and not be proud, for not arrogant enough. For this way they hope you find it. Soon. And you be the exception. You can be called weird for something people that don't see often, so you can remember that for the success and comes that for the simply refusing to give up for the goals and it's not the obstacles for the elder, the failure for the loss of any activism motivation. The challenge of what it makes life is interesting enough for the overcoming and take it meaningful. Nevertheless, the sadness and you can have the fear for the future, for the ruin, the happiness of your present.